I'm Jake Gauntley, and this is SEO in 2024.
Jake, what's your number one SEO tip for 2024?
My SEO tip for 2024 is that it is okay to not know exactly how generative AI and SGE is going to change the long-term future of search, because none of us really do. But Google have already admitted that they are acting boldly and reimagining their core search product. So while we are kind of in the unknown, or we're stepping into the unknown, we should still obviously be forward-thinking and aware about the future of the data that we use and how our search strategy will kind of be impacted in the future as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously we don't know for certain about how the SERP will continue to evolve over the years ahead, but we need to hypothesize and come up with potential scenarios that we can perhaps amend our strategies towards. Yeah. So what's likely to get impacted by SGE initially?
Well, I think there's been a common theme with organic search over the last 5-10 years of declining organic click-through rates. If you think about how SERPs have evolved since that, the early days of just 10 blue links, there's always been a decline in traffic going to sites through organic links, whether that be through, increase in paid spots or just Google and other search engines making the result more useful to a user and catering for that user intent straight away when they land on the SERP. So declining click-through rates and organic traffic as a result of that is not necessarily anything new. And the SEO industry and SEO as a discipline has evolved and adapted from that. And I think that's really what we're going to see. That's not one of the SEO is dead scenarios, which seem to happen, every month, every year. Really, it's about thinking how we adapt and how our strategy adapts as well, because SEO has a lot of very, very useful skills that were kind of a benefit outside of SEO. So yeah, it's just thinking about, how we then work with clients or the business that we work for and adapt those skills to show the benefit of that outside of search, as well as keep trying to get traffic from search itself.
So is the way that we have to optimize to appear in the number one AI-driven answer different compared with the way that we have to optimize to appear in the number one SERP result?
I mean, it's a great question. I think that's the number one question really in SEO over the last year or so since the AI results have came out. I think really to win in organic search right now, you're not necessarily optimizing a page for a keyword. It's about optimizing the digital experiences for users. And over the last 3 to 5 years with Google algorithm updates, there has been this shift on providing like holistic optimization of your website. So whether that is through things like page experience and improving like site speed for users, or providing, genuinely useful in-depth content if users looking for in-depth content, or making sure that the media you use in your content is tailored towards that user intent, or even like off-site signals, like, building out a positive brand perception through digital PR. All of these holistic signals, like they come together to improve search rankings, whether that be, in the classic blue links, or you'd imagine the same thing within generative AI results as well. Realistically, that's, what Google and other search engines have shown that they like to, rank highly. It would be quite a significant shift if that was to kind of change within generative AI results as well.
I mean, one of the big challenges, of course, is that if your brand does get featured within an AI-driven answer, then how do you track that? How do you track the user from that result deciding to go into your website? I mean, is it trackable directly from that result, or do you have to find some other way of determining where that user came from?
It's a brilliant question, and this is where within my tip, and I'm talking about like, the data that we currently use or have used in the past to talk about SEO and to benchmark performance is not really going to be the same within these generative AI answers. If someone is typing a question and someone types the same question but a slightly nuanced different way, it might actually give a slightly different answer to that, which might pull in, a different source for that. So it's going to be really hard to kind of track performance within those results over time in a way that we've kind of historically done with like classic keyword rank tracking, if you like, where things are, although it fluctuates, it's a little bit more stable. It's, it's just 10 blue links. It's not this kind of generative AI content. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the SEO industry adapts to that. And again, I don't have an answer to that right now. As my tip kind of says, it's like, I don't have that answer. And really until we start to get that data through from, whether it be third party suppliers or even Google themselves, because, Google haven't really been open and honest about the kind of data we are going to get from SG performance. So again, it's kind of stepping into the unknown. But with the whole kind of, I suppose one of the USPs of these like generative AI, features within searches is that it can be a conversation with that person and they can ask things that are bespoke to their needs. So everyone is going to be getting slightly different answers, and tracking that is obviously going to be a big job because there's going to be so many variations. So I do not envy the person whose job it is to try and come up with the right data there, but good luck to them.
I mean, it feels almost as if tracking for SEO is going down the route of where PR used to be. So you almost had to have user groups to discuss what publications users read, and maybe have conversations with users directly to get a feel for the funnels that they tend to take prior to making a purchase decision. Are these the kind of discussions that SEOs are going to have to be more involved in the future?
I think it would be a really interesting concept, to have people come together in like a focus group and you say, right, here's something that you need to do in search, and watch the differences between the information that those people get. Obviously, whether or not that's a cost-effective way of doing things, I can't imagine it would be cheap to hire all those people's time, but it is going to be interesting to see how, the information that people get differs and the brands that they see through those experiences within SGE as well.
And another challenge, of course, is comparing what you're getting at the moment with your historical data as well, because obviously you're used to perhaps having, perhaps not 10 blue links on the SERP, but a more traditional looking SERP. So how do you compare how you're performing with in 2024 with how you used to perform with a couple of years ago?
Yeah, again, a brilliant question. Like the value of position 1 rank with SGE is not going to be the same as a position 1 rank, pre-SGE. So although, if you're looking in a ranking report and you can see you're still ranking position 1, but you're getting significantly less traffic from that, there is going to need to be that kind of the pre and post comparison there. Like, the data is not like for like. It would be really interesting, in that situation, if you, used to rank 1 and you still rank 1, but your traffic has decreased, pulling almost like a CTR curve for your rankings and seeing like, right, just how much has my click-through rate decreased in position where I typically rank position 1 now versus what it did in the past. And that's something even pre-SG that we've done for clients and businesses that we work with. When new SERP features get added to like a SERP for a keyword that is really important to them. And if we show them like, look, your ranking has remained stable, but the average click-through rate you're getting for this set of keywords, so it might be a cluster of, 10, 50, 100 keywords, whatever it is, we can like visualize with a CTR curve just how much their CTR has dropped. So although it looks on paper on the rankings report that things are looking good, realistically, because of things that are outside of our control, click-through rate has dropped, and you can kind of show them the data to back that up.
So is there anything an SEO can be doing now to actually future-proof their site to make it more likely that they will appear for that number 1 result, for that AI-driven result?
I think in terms of future-proofing your website, like the whole strategy of being an authority on a topic and providing information about a whole topic or entity is still going to be important in terms of showing Google that you know what you're talking about and the information that you have is worthwhile them showing in whatever type of result. So those kind of, the tactics that have come out of things like the helpful content update and EEAT, all of those are still going to be very important. But I think there's like maybe an additional step of once you need to future-proof yourself for organic search success. And that is always going to be those things of, making sure you have the content, your tech SEO, your UX is great, you're doing, you've got links, all that kind of stuff. But then also how does your search strategy change to possibly even take customers outside of a search interaction with your brand, and then you can own that customer interaction through different channels. So taking it out of search itself.
Yeah, so analytics are all the more important to really understand your customer journey, because for some brands, perhaps they're going to have to rely more on generative search, but other brands, perhaps the users may be less likely to use those types of results. Can we utilize GA4 for all of this, or do you favor other analytics packages to really understand the full user journey?
I mean, yeah, GA4 is what it is. I can't say I'm a huge fan of it right now, but realistically, I think it's one of those situations where a lot of brands or sites might be stuck with what they have because of the historical data that they have with that, or the ties that they have. I don't think any analytics package that I've really used is perfect. So obviously GA has its flaws, and that's fine. We'll get by with what we have. But I think really in terms of that customer journey and understanding that customer journey, what I would like to see from brands, or what I would recommend in terms of future-proofing that is, gathering zero-party or first-party data through whatever channel people come to your website from, whether that be, search or whatever, and then brand taking more of an ownership over using that data so they can have direct contact with their customers through CRM. And if you've created that positive brand experience through your search strategy when people land on your site, obviously if you can give them some sort of value that makes it that they want to give you their email address or whatever it be, then you can kind of cut out the middleman of organic search and kind of invest in trying to foster that relationship directly with them instead.
It's intriguing that email seems to be just as important as it was 20 years ago. I mean, are customers going to rely on chatbots, on other forms of online communication, or do you see email as being absolutely key over the next few years still?
Chatbots are an interesting one, to be honest, because there could be a lot of potential there with chatbots if they can get the technology really authentic, so it seems like an authentic and genuine experience. I think my experience from chatbots is that I've typically not really been able to do what I've wanted to do within that. So I think, if a brand wants to invest in something like chatbots, if it's not done well, then that can kind of break that relationship between a user and the brand, because you're not really providing a great experience there. But, as we've seen, as much as, AI, it's changing so quickly. So there is the possibility that, pretty soon those experiences of AI-led chatbots could be a lot more authentic than they've been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's about a brand getting their online communications preference center right for each consumer, because certain consumers prefer using WhatsApp rather than email, or maybe another online messaging service, and other would be happy using search. I had someone knock on my door recently and asked me to sign up for a service, and I gave them my email address. They say, we need your phone number as well. I don't want any phone call, thank you very much. Yeah. I just want you to send me an email, but we need a phone number as well. And it's that understanding of what a customer prefers that many brands are still struggling with.
Yeah, I think it is down to what the customer prefers, and a lot of bigger brands maybe have those options. I mean, you see more and more now, like brands who are operating through WhatsApp, even like big companies, even like things like TV shows and radio stations now have like a contact us through WhatsApp. So it is showing that, organizations and companies do adapt to what a user wants. But yeah, whether a brand has all of the options available rather than just saying, no, you have to have a text or you have to have an email.
Yeah, it's not necessarily what all users want.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, hopefully, if the brand has the kind of infrastructure in place to be able to offer multiple ones, it would be great, or specific ones to what you want.
If an SEO is struggling for time, what should they stop doing right now so they can spend more time analysing their data and ensuring that their site is optimised for SG in 2024?
As I said at the very beginning of this, stop worrying if you don't know how AI within the SERP is going to completely change your SEO strategy. And if you don't know what the future looks like, it's okay, because, the industry doesn't really. So the more that you stop worrying about that and, take ownership of the fact that you don't know and we don't know as an industry, we're starting to think about, right, well, what might it look like and what can I do to try and future-proof myself? I think that kind of gives you the power to then be like, right, I'm making these decisions based on what I do know or on the assumptions that we've made. And hopefully that takes at least some worry off your plate.
Jake Gauntley is Senior SEO Account Director at KINESSO, and you can find him over at jakegauntley.com. Jake, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2024.
Thank you very much.
I've been your host, David Bain. Get your copy of SEO in 2024, the book, over at seoin2024.com.